We're going to talk about glazing. I talked to you guys about this before, so I am going to just review it very quickly so everybody's aware of what we need to do. For these spoon holders that we have tons of them, we are going to do 3 different types of glazes. They will not be underglaze. So this will be glaze, which is on the left side of the shelving unit in the back. Okay? And we did particular textures so that we could come up with some really interesting things with the regular glaze. So I'm asking you on the first one to do a glaze that has a texture to it where you can see different colors. So this one's blue rutile, and you can see the blue obviously and the kind of grayish purple. It has a lighter blue kind of in the deep crevices of the texture, and then it has a brownish edge. This one will give us multiple colors, which is really important. I want you to steer clear of ones like this. This one's fire brick, deep fire brick. It's just a solid color. It's not going to give you the full, I guess, enhancement of the texture. So I just want you to try one of these, okay? And we have lots of different ones. And one of the things you're going to look at is if you look at the front and you look at the test tile, because I have test tiles for most everything, you will see the difference between the two, and you'll see the likeness. This is a pretty close likeness, but there was another one that I was looking at that was a little bit different. This one is ironstone, which is this. So when I look at this one, and I don't know if you guys can see it well, but kind of, this one, I think with 3 solid coats on this, it's going to turn a little bit more green like this. But if you don't do 3 coats on it, you may get what looks like this. So I'm starting to get that green effect with a really interesting kind of reddish in the deep grooves. But then I also get this blackish brown. So I think if you can find a test tile along with the actual glaze picture, you'll have a better idea of what's going to happen. So you're going to do one like that. You're going to do one that's a combination. And in Schoology, I think I put like do an opaque glaze and then one that's a sheer over the top. But you can play with it. It may not be a sheer. Like this is a Kai Matte and Sage. Neither one of them are sheer, but they have a really interesting effect. This one's very calico looking, and this one is seaweed and tomoku, which is really beautiful. And this one, if anybody's interested in these kind of flat effects, I have 2 flats, a black and a white. I may have more than that. Some of the chinos are very flat too. But this is midnight blue and satin white. Okay? And so it gives you just a soft, flat look. And again, I would look through my little bin I have of all the different ones. Some of them are a little bit weird. Pear and chino, I think, is not a great combo. It looks very cracked and textured, and it's not awesome. Okay? So take a look at those and decide which direction you want to go. Notice that they're listed on top and on bottom of which one's first to second. So you want to be clear with that. I'm going to do this one today. I'm going to show you guys that little trick. I think I showed you last time, but I'm going to ask for your eyes just one more quick time. You guys, when you have a bottom or even a bottom with feet, you want to know the distance of how close you can get to the edge, the bottom edge, without having the glaze too close to the bottom. So I'm using a pencil and I'm scribing. So I take the bottom of the pencil, okay, and the tip of the end of the pencil is about 1/8 of an inch. So again, eyes up here real quick. What you want to do is take that, and then you're just going to super gently, you keep that pencil super flat, and you're just going to gently guide your ceramic piece, and this goes for anything. We are doing this with the spoon holders. These are testing some glazes, but you can do this with anything. And then we draw a nice line. Now I'm doing this with a colored pencil because it's easy to see. It looks great. It will melt. It will not show. It will not be anything that's of effect. Okay? With this, If you have a spot that's, you missed, or you want to kind of straighten one out, you can do that. I have a little bit of an overlap here, but that's fine. So I know I can do that. The other thing I wanted to show you guys really quick, there may be a few of you who have these larger plates for when we get ready to glaze the Day of the Dead. And with the larger plates, you can use these little stands. And these are really great if you want more glaze on the bottom surface. So what I would do is you could underglaze the whole bottom surface, totally fine. And then what I would do is take the ones that you're planning on using, or the size, I should say, and they're in the back. You'll put them on that surface, in an even pattern, something like this. So for this large surface, I'll need 2. I couldn't do just 1 because you don't want it tipping. And then I would just scratch into that surface, side to side, so that these metal points scratch into your underglaze. And then I would scrape that off just that spot of underglaze, so you know where you don't want to put regular glaze. Then we'll fire it, and then when we do our regular clear glaze over it, those little dots that we've created with this will actually be the places we don't put glaze. So it'll make it a lot easier. All right, that's an option for those of you who have a big flat surface. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about glaze application. For this one I'm going to use Junebug. I encourage you guys to read about the glaze on the back side. It seems kind of dorky, I know. But with this, one of the things that I think is important is it's going to describe how this glaze will act. So this says Junebug is a glossy dark green metallic glaze that develops small triangular iridescent crystals like the wings of a beetle. This opaque glaze does not break over texture. That last sentence is the one that I find the most important. Okay, the picture tells me a little bit about the iridescent crystals, but it doesn't break over texture, meaning that if I have it on a nice heavy texture, it won't crack on the surface, which is important. All right, so I'm going to use this. It's nice and tight. I'm going to make sure that it's shaken really well. Again, making sure the top is really tight. And I'm going to show you guys how to apply that first layer of glaze because it's really important. So you want to take a brush. All right, the types of brushes I'm going to ask you guys to use for this are going to be kind of a soft, blunt one like this, and then a white one like this. And then this soft one is really great. These other ones right here I like for glaze because they're big and they hold a lot of glaze, but it's kind of overkill for the small little spoon holders. So the first thing you want to do after you've shaken this up, and you can too if you feel like there might be solids on the bottom, which I don't think there is on this. I think we're fine. You can go down to the bottom and just scrape a little. But I think we're good with this. So I'm going to start with a smaller brush. And what I want to do is really get in and make sure that on my textured surface, that glaze is going in all of the little crevices. Super important. And I'm just kind of shoving. That's why I like this little blunt brush, because it's good for kind of shoving it in there a little bit. And then once I do that, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to make sure I did check these beforehand, but you want to make sure that your clay surface is clean. It doesn't have dust on it from the kiln or any little particles. And what this will ensure is that the glaze has kind of gotten to the bottom of all your surfaces. If you don't, what happens is there might be like one little spot that is almost like a resist. And then amongst the sea of like beautiful, rich color, you'll have a white, dry spot. And it looks really goofy. So it may not seem like it would show when I'm putting it on like this, but it might show later. Okay? Now, when I do this, I'm going to I'll do the bottom so you guys can see how that's done. I got a little bit on here that I can sponge off later, because I got to wait for the top to dry. So when you do the bottom, what you're going to want to do is use this kind of heavier, thicker brush and come in on the edge like this. You don't want to scrape along this way, and I need eyes up here so you guys can see this. You don't want to scrape along this way because you'll get a weird, uneven look. You really want to take this thicker brush, come in along the edge, kind of like you're painting your fingernails, and then go like that along the whole edge. Now this is going on thinner than this other one that I was sampling from my other group. So I'm definitely going to put 3 coats on. I need to have them dry in between. And I'm going to go all the way around. And I know that it's not going to bother the bottom of the kiln shelf because I'm not putting it any farther than this pencil line. And it should be fine. And once that's dry, I can do another coat. It's also kind of important to do the edge, but I'll hold off on that until I get it a little bit drier. Alright, so we're on second coat for this one. And I'm going to just take my super clean brush. And I'm going to go over this. This is getting very thick. So what I've done, this is like my second thick coat. I'm still trying to push it into the surface. I will say that if you guys are doing a flatter surface, a surface that doesn't have texture, your brush stroke will matter a little bit more, but it still kind of melts. It's melting into glass, so it's not like painting. And I'll show you that on the back when I did the back. It's you know, I'm a little bit more careful on a flat surface with the brush stroke. When you do the edge, you're going to, again, just kind of make sure it's consistent. You want to make sure that you count how many coats you have. And then as you do the edge, I would just dot it along the edge like this. Okay, if you notice any dry spots, pop it in. I can go about this far before I run into my hand. And then I'll put it on the surface of the table and finish it off. Now, super important, guys. No, we have ironstone. Wait, ironstone. One of the things I'm going to ask you guys to do in the end, and I guess I'm getting my phone out. This is a reason you can use your phone. Okay, so guys, I need your eyes and attention and ears up here, please. When you guys are done painting whatever it is that you're painting for these glazes, you want this. I think this is easy. You can write it down. You can make a Google Doc of it. The easiest thing is to take a picture of it and then just edit it, go to markup, and then choose a pen and a color that would go over this so you can see it, and then write the glaze across it. And then you have a picture. You can add that to your Google Drive hand-in folder, and that'll be before the before picture, and we'll take an after picture, which will be great. Okay, so I want everybody to do this so that we know what our glaze is, so we're not confused after we're done, because it'll be a little while between now and the time that you look at this again after it's fired. Okay? Any questions?